Hi. In this video, we are going to graph, and given 2 points, right? And then we will also find the slope. We will always find the slope and the graph. Remember last time in the previous video we find the slope given 2 points when we use the slope formula. Which was changing y over changing x, which is m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But this time we are going to actually graph this, right? We will actually find the slope in a different way by graphing, right? So remember, let me remind you of the slope formula here, right? Which is when graphing. So the slope formula is it's rise, right? It's rise over run. Or we could say that it's y over x. So let's focus on rise over run instead. All right. So when you are given a problem like that, right? When you are given 2 points and you need to graph, the first thing you do is plot your points, right? So let's try number 1, right? So you notice that you have 2 points here. You have point A and point B. So we can go ahead and plot those 2 points, right? Let's first let's plot point A, right? So you notice that you have to go 3 units to the right, right? You see your x value is 3, right? 3 units to the right, 1, 2, 3. So meaning that you're here, right? And then you're going 4 units up, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So meaning that your point over here is here, right? So your point is over here. So we can call this point over here point A, right? And now we can also go ahead and plot point B, right? So you notice that you have to go 1 unit to the left and 2 units up, right? Meaning that your point is going to be over here. So this is your point B, right? So the next thing you do, right? Step 1, we see step 1, plot the points, right? We plot the points, right? So this is step 1. And then step 2, we graph, right? So meaning that we will draw a line through the points, right? So let's draw a line through the points. Let's draw a line through the points, right? So this is our line. So meaning that if you put the arrows there, meaning that it's going in both directions. So this is our point over here, point B, and so on. So we just graph, right? Step 2, we draw a line through the graph, right? We say graph, or draw a line through the graph, right? So now we have the graph, right? We already done with part 1. We're already done with the first question, right? And second, we need to find the slope. Remember that, look at this carefully. Whenever you are going from the right to the left, you notice that you have a positive slope, right? And remember, when you're coming from the right top, right, going to the bottom left, your slope is positive, right? And when you are going from the top left and going to the bottom right, meaning that your slope is negative, right? So we have to have this in mind. So we already see that, hey, we have a positive slope here. If you have a positive slope here, you know that meaning that you have to get from here to there, right? You have to get from that point over here and to this one over here. So your slope must be positive. Your slope cannot be negative, right? So this is what they're asking you over here to find the slope. To find the slope, you have to rise over here. You have to find the distance from this point over here to that point over here. Meaning that what is the slope you have to be, right? In order to actually, what slope do you have to be in order for this this line to be straight, right? So watch this carefully. This is how we find the slope. You have to count units, right? You have to count the units until you get on the same line as the A, right? So let's say B here, right? We say, hey, we are moving B over here, right? And then we are moving B over there until we get to that point over here, to point A, right? So let's start with B. So we're saying that this is 1 unit, right? We're rising over here. how many units we rise in order to get, on the same line as A. We rise positive 2 unit. So which means that my rise over here, right? I can say that my rise is equal to 2, right? I just rise 2. Now I need to run, right? I need to run. Remember, when you're running to the right, you're also positive, right? And when you're running to the left, your run is negative. And when you're actually rising in the bottom, when you go into the bottom, right? Let's say I were to go down this way. I can't go down this way because if I go down this way, I will not be able to hit the points, right? I have to go down, I have to go up. And also I know that my slope is positive, right? So that's why I have to go up. So now I need to run. I'm running 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 units, and 4 units, right? So which means that my run is equal to 4, right? I can say over here is positive 4. So which means that, right, I could go ahead and say my slope, right? I could go ahead and say my slope M is equal to rise over run, which is 2 over 4. Now I can simplify. If I simplify by 2, I get my M is equal to 1/2. So therefore my slope is 1/2. All right, so I want you to try number 2, right? I'm gonna try number 2 at this time. All right, so I'm sure you're already done with number 2. So now let's work together now. So the first thing we do, we plot the points, right? We plot the points. We are going 2 units to the left and 6 units up, right? So meaning that over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm here, right? So I'm gonna call this point, this is my point A over here, right? So now I need to plot the second point, point B, right? You notice the point B is 1, 1, meaning that I am going to be over here. This is my point B. And the next thing I do, I need to draw the line, right? I need to draw the line on the graph, right? I need to draw the line on the graph. So let's draw the line on the graph here. We draw the line. Oops. Draw the line here. It's not a beautiful line. So this is the line. I draw the line. I graph, right? So now I'm ready to find the slope. What slope is this? This is a negative slope. So you notice that it's coming from the left to the right. If it's coming from the left to the right, we're saying that it's a negative slope. If it's negative slope, you know that we have to start from the top going down, correct? All right, so meaning that our rise will be negative this time, right? So let's count. How can we get from here to there? Let's count. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units, right? Meaning that my slope is -5 because I am going down. Remember that I am going back this way. If I'm running, my running has to be positive since I'm going to the right side. If I were to go into the left, it would be negative, right? So let's count. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. How can I get from that point over here to that point is +3. So therefore, I'm done, right? I need to write down the slope. Remember, the slope is rise over run. So this is my rise over here, right? I'm rising -5, right? And then my run is +3. Therefore, my slope is -5/3, right? So it explains everything. You notice that if we say that it's coming from the left to the top left to the right, your graph's coming from top left to the right, and it has to be a negative slope. And you see that we get our rise over here, which is -5, and then we run, which is +3. So which you see that it makes sense. You know that the answer is correct. But if you were to get like a positive numbers here, if your graph coming from the left to the right, to the bottom right, and you notice that you get a positive slope, something is wrong, right? And also, if you notice that you get a graph coming from the top right to the bottom left, right? And then, and you get a negative slope, it means that your answer is not correct. You did something wrong. You need to fix it, right? All right, we have an extra example here with 3, right? So remember that the first thing we need to do is plot the points, right? So we need to plot the points. Let's plot points number 2. Let's plot points A, right? So it's going to be 2 units to the left, right? And then 2 units up. So meaning that my point A is over here. Now I need to plot point B. So I'm plotting point B, right? So it's 1 unit to the left, 1 unit to the right, and then 2 units up. So meaning that my point B is over here. Oh, watch this carefully. What do I have here? I have a straight line. Is that what it is? Watch this carefully. Watch this carefully. Right? I have a straight line. Right? I have a straight line that's actually across the y-axis. Right? If the line crossed the y-axis, what happened to the slope? If the line crossed the y-axis, it means that my slope is equal to 0. So you can go ahead and write down, hey, my slope is 0 right away. Right? Do you see that? Do you have a rise? No, you do not have a rise. So if you don't have a rise, meaning that your rise is automatically 0, right? You can see that my rise is 0, right? I could automatically see that my rise is 0 because my point A over here is exactly parallel to that. It's on exactly the same line as my point A is in the same line as point B. So which means that my rise over here is 0. If you want to be technical, you can even try and say, hey, I'm gonna find a run, right? The run is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You could say that my run is equal to 4, right? Meaning that my slope over here would be 0 over 4, which means that my slope is equal to 0, right? And I have another one to tell you. So the other one, I would say that what about if the line were to cross? About if you have a line over here that is at -3 here. What do you think would happen if we have a line here at -3? Let's say we have a line at -3 here, and the line actually crossed the x-axis. What happened if the line crossed the x-axis? Right? If your line crossed the x-axis, what happened? What do you think would happen? Right? If your line crossed the x-axis, you will say that your slope is undefined. The reason why your slope is undefined because you have the run over 0, right? Watch this carefully. So let's say that I have a point over here and a point over here, right? I have 2 points over here on this line here. Anyways, right? So meaning that let's say that my point is over here, I have a point over here and I have another point over here, right? And I'm drawing the graph here. So meaning that my M would be, hey, that would be my rise. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Say, hey, it's 6. Where's my run? I do not have a run. If I do not have a run, the run is automatically 0, right? So which means that anything over 0 is going to be undefined, right? Anything over 0 will be undefined. So we can go ahead and write down undefined here, right? So again, whenever you have a line crossing the x-axis, you can go ahead and say that, hey, my slope is undefined right away, right? And if you also notice that you have a line crossing the y-axis, you can go ahead and say that, hey, my slope is 0, right? No matter where the line crosses the x-axis, the slope will always be 0. No matter where the line crosses the x-axis, my slope will always be 0. I'm sorry, this one will be my slope over here will be undefined, and my slope over here will be equals to 0, right? All right, thanks for watching.